Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video, we're going to do a little bit of wish listing, a little bit of fun, a little bit of chatter about what I would like to see for Stormcast Eternals in Warhammer Age of Sigmar 3rd edition. Now we know the Stormcast Eternals battle tome is soon to hit the shelves. It's rumoured to be coming out, or rather we've been told by Games Workshop it's going to come out in August, and the thoughts are it will be available the first weekend of August. So, with that in mind, I thought, well, we'll start the series off with the two battle tomes we know that are coming. So we're going to start with Stormcast, and we'll have the Auric War Clans one out soon as well. But what I want to do in these videos is I want to talk a little bit about not just gameplay mechanics, but lore-wise things and a whole bunch of stuff I'd like to see the new battle tome bring to the Stormcast Eternals as an army and as a faction and as a narrative in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So without further ado, this is 10 things I'd like to see in 3rd edition for Stormcast Eternals. Number 1, I don't think I'm alone in this thought, but I want to see Stormcast Eternals become more resilient. This is an army I want to see that is able to take the biggest punches in Warhammer Age of Sigmar that the game has to offer and withstand them. This is an army that I don't want to have that many models on the table. I want to be playing this as an army of heroes like the narrative tells me it is, and I want them to be able to defy all the odds and come out on top. Now, I don't necessarily want Stormcast Eternals to be a heavy damage dealing army. I don't mind if they have a few mortal wounds splash around here and there and they have some good hammers within their army, but I think the core backbone that makes Stormcast interesting is the humble Liberator. Now, I know we've got all these new cast Eternals coming out, and maybe the Liberator is going to be a thing of the past, who knows, but for me, it is that sort of shield wall iconic look that we have for Stormcast Eternals that really just gives me the idea of what the army should all be about. You should have these walls of troops standing side by side, brother to brother, sister to sister, and sister to brother, whatever you want to do with that. And they should just be holding against absolutely anything. Now, I do think in the FAQ we went the right way with a few of these things. We saw that now their Sigmarite shields, rather than giving them +1 save, they ignore a point of rend so they can get +1 save from somewhere else. This is really cool. So, a lot of our Stormcast Eternals with Sigmarite shields, so the Liberators can be on a 3+ save, ignoring 1 point of rend. Really, really nice. And if you all of a sudden give them Mystic Shield, suddenly they are ignoring another point of rend. It's really cool. I think they're going in the right direction with this, but I really do hope that in the new battle tome we push further on this and really make the Stormcast Eternals just this army that is really hard to destroy. I want the models to just stand up and just be able to take an absolute beating. Number 2, I want them to explore and improve upon the narrative-driven rules that we've already given Stormcast. Now, once again, they've done a great thing in the looks of these. When their Stormcast explode, they sort of do mortal wounds, potentially, to the models around them. This, for me, is a massive thumbs up. It's a great new rule to add to Stormcast, and it's something that's always happened in the lore that I really do like. And, of course, in our Age of Sigmar 2.0 battle tome for Stormcast Eternals, we got the rule where they come down and effectively they're -1 to hit on the turn. They drop down as the sort of lightning crackles around them and sort of energy pushes out. Another great rule. This is one of the rules, though, that I think definitely needs to be improved upon. It is only the turn. It'd be great if that rule just literally changed to battle round and it all of a sudden becomes a really, really good rule. But there's other cool rules around there. Things like the Castigators doing more damage against demons and Night Haunts, or the Liberators and their Lay Low the Tyrants rule. These are really cool rules on Stormcast, and they can be really game-changing. I think the Liberators are the perfect example of a good narrative rule, where it's got enough room to play that it actually will matter, but it's also not going to break the game and make a unit too overpowered because it's doing it against everything. So, for those who don't know, Lay Low the Tyrants, they get +1 to hit against models with a wounds characteristic of 5 or more. This is really cool. It means, against monsters, they've got the extra few hits. They're going to put a few more saves into monsters they're going to need to take. It's not necessarily going to turn Liberators into anything amazingly offensive, but it is just a nice rule that's going to give them that little bit of a buff that actually will matter in some instances. Other rules they've got as well that maybe we can start looking into is potentially a lot more of the tactical sort of rules where maybe, shield walls and stuff like that deploying in certain positions might give us particular benefits. Now that units are going to be large and ranked up, I think this could be a really cool way to give some cool rules. There was a particular battalion, the Thunderhead Brotherhood, in the previous edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, where if your Adjudicators were behind Liberators, they actually got the Liberator save rule. I think this could be a cool rule to give Liberators, just to make them like these frontline troops where they actually give their shield benefits to units behind them. Would be a cool thing to have. These sort of narrative-driven rules I really like. Stormcast have a great lot of them, and a lot of them are really cool and don't overstay their welcome, but also actually give something worthwhile and aren't just like a little throwaway rule. Number 3, continue to explore different ranks and classes of characters within the Stormcast Eternals ranks. Now, this is something we're definitely seeing in the new models coming out. We've obviously seen models like the Knight Relictor, who only had the Lord Relictor variant. We have the Knight Arcanum, who's only had the Lord Arcanum variant. We've got the Knight Judicator here, which is a little bit different, because we've only ever seen Judicators as a unit, not as Knights or Lords at all. This is something I really hope we continue to explore. It gives us access to a ton more models, and not only that, it builds up a narrative sense of how the Stormcast actually go through their ranks and can achieve different ranks within the army. This, for me, just gives Stormcast a lot more life. This all of a sudden doesn't make, well, all of a sudden you've been forged into this and now you're this rank forevermore, that maybe sometimes it did seem like was the possibility in the early days of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. This shows that there's actually ranks, and that a Stormcast can climb through those ranks. You know, how amazing would it be to see something like a Lord Zephyros, a Lord Assassin, or all of a sudden, say, a Knight Liberator would be a really cool thing. Well, this Liberator Sergeant that's risen among the ranks, that he's actually now a Knight level character. Or, you know, a Lord Vexilla, all of a sudden this banner bearer that has this massive sort of banner, and he's like the prime banner bearer. He's carrying some special, ultra special banner. For me, this is a really great way, and this adds more to Stormcast than on the tabletop. I think in Age of Sigmar Soulbound, this becomes really interesting to play as characters in Age of Sigmar Soulbound, in that, you know, you can start off as, say, you know, a Judicator, play to a Knight Judicator, to a Lord Judicator. This is just really cool. It's a great way to sort of build narrative and show how the Stormcast Eternals work as a brotherhood and as an army. Number 4, explore what happened to the Realmgate Wars characters for Stormcast Eternals. Now, there are a ton of characters, and obviously we've seen one of them come back, and we'll talk about him in just a second, and stuff sort of around him. Garda Steelsoul, of course, I'm talking about. But I'd like to see what happened to these other characters during the Realmgate Wars. In fact, one that I really would love to see and know a little bit more about is Vandus Hammerhand. He was such an instrumental part in the Realmgate Wars. He was our main sort of piece, our main player for the Stormcast Eternals. And I really do want to know what's happened to him in the time since the Realmgate Wars. Of course, there's been a whole bunch of little teasers, as you know. Maybe he's not quite all there anymore. He's been sort of plagued by visions and nightmares and dreams and stuff like that. Like he always has, but maybe to a higher degree now. And I'd really love to see and learn a little bit more about this character and what he is now doing in the mortal realms, or if he is doing anything at all. Characters like him, or Thostus Bladeborn, or Ionis Cryptborn, and other characters like that I really want to see more of, and I want to know what's happened to them since the Realmgate Wars have ended, and what they are doing now in the mortal realms. Continuing on, sort of, I guess, the same point, I want to see more non-Hammers of Sigmar characters. We've obviously gotten rules for Garda Steelsoul, and, you know, everyone rejoiced when we saw his model. It looks amazing. Maybe, you know, his rules leave a little bit to be desired, but who knows what the new battle tome will hold for him. And also, we've gotten the Van Brecht character from the Anvils of the Elden Hammer that appeared in the Broken Realm stories as well. I'm hoping we start to see more of these non-Hammers of Sigmar characters. Give us something from the Astral Templars. Give us some of the great characters we've read in the stories, you know. Characters, as I previously mentioned, like Thostus Bladeborn, or other characters like Tarsus Bullheart as well. Or even, you know, you could go and look at some of the other more obscure Age of Sigmar, Stormcast Eternal, Storm hosts, and grab a character from there and bring a bunch of life to a new Stormcast Eternals chamber. It'd be really cool. I think there's a lot to be gained in looking at the non-Hammers of Sigmar chambers. I understand they're the poster boys, they're effectively Warhammer Age of Sigmar Ultramarines, and they're going to get the most love, but let's give a little bit of sprinkling of love to the others, much like how we saw with, I think it was a couple of Space Marine books ago, where we saw like an Iron Hands model, we saw a Salamanders model, and we saw other couple of characters from some of the other potential Space Marine chapters. I'd like to see that done to Stormcast Eternals. Give us those other little bits of character to the army. And so, number 6, spread the mounts around. Now, I've got a picture here of the Lord Arcanum on Gryph-charger. This, for me, when it first came out, was a really cool idea. Now, for those who don't know, before this model, the mounts here, the Gryph-charger, was from the Lord Aquila, and we hadn't actually seen any crossover from any of the mounts to other characters, and this was the first time we saw 2 different characters on the same particular mount. This, I think, could be a really cool idea to get a bunch of new Stormcast Eternal models out without having to change all that much. I think it would be a really cool thing to see. Now, of course, you could easily go make up rules for these models your own, and that would be completely fine. You could use Anvil of Apotheosis as sort of a guideline on what to do, and then take some rules from the War Scrolls we already have. But I think seeing like a Lord Celestant, or, even like take the wings off a Knight Venator and have a Knight Venator on a Gryph-charger or something like that would be really cool. To give the Stormcast, like, spread these mounts around. All of a sudden you might see maybe Vanguard Hunters as a mounted unit on a bunch of Gryph-chargers, or even on Dracolines. And, other units like maybe some Sequitors on Dracolines and stuff like that, I think could be a really cool thing to just throw around these mounts and give the Stormcast Eternals a few extra little character options. I mean, not like they need it, but, you can never have too much of a good thing, they say. 7. Now, Paths to Glory is one of the things that I was most excited for the new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and it looks like a ton of fun. I'm still yet to get in my first couple of games, but don't fret, we are working on a campaign for the channel, so that should be hitting the channel very shortly. However, I think Path to Glory rules for the Stormcast Eternals, we've been told we're going to see updated Path to Glory rules in the new battle tomes, so this is something really exciting. But for me, I want to see Reforging rules in these. Now, in Path to Glory, that your characters and your generals and all that sort of stuff can die. But I think for the Stormcast, there's a really interesting thing here to build some narrative. When your characters die, I'd like to see Reforging tables, and I'd like to see them either maybe lose part of themselves, gain abilities. You can maybe have, okay, roll 2d6 and roll under your bravery. If you pass, then you gain benefits. If you fail, well, maybe something goes wrong in your Reforging and your character actually gets a negative effect. I think this could be a really interesting thing to see in the Path to Glory rules for the Stormcast, and definitely something I want to see in them. I think it's really going to give you just a little bit of nice narrative to build around your Stormcast Eternals heroes for the Path to Glory campaigns. Number 8, tell me more about the Celestant Prime. This is a character that's been there since the very beginning for the Stormcast Eternals, one of the first models we ever saw of like his sort of grandeur in the mortal realms of Age of Sigmar, and I'd really love to know more about the Celestant Prime. Now, there were some rumours that hit the airwaves not long before we got the new edition. It sort of started telling us a bunch of stuff we were going to get for Stormcast Eternals, and one of those rumours is that maybe we were going to see a Felix model for Stormcast Eternals, Felix and Gotrek, that Felix from the Felix and Gotrek novels. I mean, that does seem a little bit wish listy. I mean, this is a wish listing video, but that seems a little bit too wish listy for even this wish listing video. But who knows? I'm just interested to know a little bit more about this particular character, and really love to get a look at underneath that mask who exactly he is. Or, maybe this is a character they're wanting to keep sort of secret about who he actually is and stuff like that. But give us some more hints, drop some more teasers. I don't care if you drop us 5 different teasers that make us think it's 5 different people. I'd love to see those little hints and those little bits of speculation that get everyone talking and interested in a character. This is great for things like, in particular parts of the Warhammer 40k narrative, the 2 missing Primarchs are a great example of this, on how they've created all this lore and all this thought around them, but there's no actual fact on what or who they are. Number 9, I'd like to see a change to Stormcast Eternal Wizards. Now, for starters, Stormcast Eternal Wizards, they do have a rather boring spell lore. I think we could really do with maybe getting rid of a few damage spells and giving a few more utility spells for the Stormcast, but definitely keep the spell lore as the predominant of damage spells. I think something that could be really great for this is giving your Stormcast Eternal Wizards more of a damaging sort of profile, and making them actually do that a little bit more in combat to really push push forward this combat wizard idea that maybe they're looking into and how they've sort of built them up. You know, it could be as simple as putting an attack extra on every model, or, you know, a little bit extra rend, or maybe some more guaranteed damage instead of D3, making them damage 2, etc., or even damage 3 on some of them. I think there's a lot we can do with Stormcast Eternal Wizards, and I like the idea of them being frontline combat wizards. It's a really cool thing and a cool idea for them, and it does suit the lore and narrative of them. So there's definitely that thought on how I think they should sort of play into Warhammer Age of Sigmar. I'd love to hear people's thoughts on this, because Stormcast Eternal Wizards are always one. There's, you know, some definitely auto-take ones, like Knight Incantor, who has that automatic Dispel, or Unbind, whatever you want to call it. And there's some other great wizards in there for Stormcast Eternal, some particularly cheap as well, like the Knight Exorcist, Lord Exorcist, sorry, and other ones like that. So Stormcast Eternals, I do think, have a ton of options with wizards, and I really like to see them change them for the better. And last, but certainly not least, number 10. I'd love to see the Stormkeep rules that we got given in Broken Realms Marathi updated and kept in the game. I do think that Stormkeep rules gave us a different way to play Stormcast, and perhaps this is something in the more thematic way. I really enjoy playing Stormcast with sort of hold the line and the defensive bonuses they get. I do think maybe we need some changes to how this sort of works in the new edition, because we can no longer stack the armor save to sort of maybe get the best version out of this. And maybe we need some changes to Stormkeep, but, you know, +1 save without having to take characters is nice. I think this is something that's got a really good basis and gives a whole host of different Stormcast Eternal units the light of day once more, and I'd really love to see it updated and keep those units in the light, giving us a different way to play Stormcast and a way to use the multitudes of different models we have for Stormcast Eternals in just a different style. It really is a really great thing they've done with Stormkeep. I enjoy it a ton, and it just gives you a different way to play. And well, there you have it. That was my thoughts and ideas of 10 things I'd like to see for Stormcast Eternals in the new Battle Tome. I'd love to hear all your thoughts and ideas down below in the comments. Let us know what you would like to see from Stormcast Eternals in Warhammer Age of Sigmar 3rd edition in the comments below. Well, thank you all for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Also, while you're at it, why not come chat more with us on Discord? We've got a link in the description of the video below to our Discord server. You can come chat with me and other members of our fine little community here at Sinful Gaming. Lastly, we'd like to give a shout out to everyone who helps support the channel in various different ways. First of all, to our Patreon members, Christian Weir, James Soren, Chaos Spawn, AJC, Kenny Lowe, Outer and Shot First, James Crowder, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, Tim Newman, The Rising Ape, Cure Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, MJ, and Dyna226. Thank you to, as well, our YouTube members, Green Roots Gaming, Fire Titan, Steve T, The Real Zeot, Chris Wallace, Turriot12, Vinny, and Locke Lorick. And a special thanks to our artist who does all the channel art for us, Lady Witchfox Art, thank you very much. And to our Discord moderator, Xmorphic, you do a fantastic job on Discord for us as well. Thank you all, everyone, for watching. If you'd like to help support on Patreon or YouTube member, or help support the channel in another way, you can do so by following one of the links in the description of the video to Patreon or YouTube members, or go buy some Sinful Gaming merch from our Teespring store, also linked in the video's description. That's it for today, everyone. Thank you again. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.